Okay, guys, really quickly again, I would like you to change your status to a thumbs up. I want to continue with where you're going to find the information for your research just to give yourself a name and an identity. It's a really fun place to go to that you can actually do some research. But in the meantime, if you put your thumbs up, that means that my aide knows that she can move forward. And in a moment after this video, we're actually going to have a link for you to do a check-in for attendance, so that attendance can be taken for your class as well and show that you were here today. So in week 14, we have the ability to go to a link that I have left for you called the Statue of Liberty Project. Now you're actually going to have to log in there and create an account. So you should probably use your school email account, and then you're going to set up a password. It's going to take a little while, but go ahead and do that so you can begin your research. But in the meantime, I'm going to show you how you can start looking for things at Ellis Island and the Statue of Liberty project. So just for the sake of when I started this account, I actually used my personal email account. So I'm going to put that back in, but it's best if you use your school email account. And it's going to take you to things that you can discover. And there's all kinds of really cool pictures and stories, video clips, etc., that you can find by looking at this. But what you're going to do is start searching passenger information. And when you start searching passenger information, you're going to find an entire plethora of information related to someone. Now, I strongly suggest, because this is about you becoming a person that you really aren't, choosing one of these roles, I would use my own last name. So I'm going to start my search with putting in my birth given last name, which was Sapp. And I found out from family members that my name actually was about 14 letters long. And when the family originally came through Ellis Island, it was too long for them, so they decided to shorten it to just Sapp. So if I actually put in the last name Sapp, and you can put in Garcia, Rodriguez, Cortez, whatever name you would like, you will then be able to find a plethora of information related to your last name. Now I have 412 matches for that last name. Now remember, there's going to be listings from the 1800s through the mid 1900s. Specifically look for information that's related to the mid to late 1800s. And there's a lot of things that you're going to have. You're going to have the last name, the name of the person, when they arrived, the last place of their residence or their birthplace, the name of the ship came on, and then you're going to have all these documents that you can actually look at specifically. So for my birth given last name, I'm going to try and find someone, and I just found someone who's from 1866. Ooh, here's one from 1843. Let's try this one. They don't really know where Emma's from, but I'm sorry, from where A is. I'm going to use this one in case. Actually, let's go with 1855. So if I see J. Sapp, I don't know if this is a male or female. I know that they came in 1855. Their last place of residence or birth was the USA. They came on the Northern Light, which was the ship. And if I actually look on one of the documents, I can see specifically more information related to them. So if I click here, it shows the passenger record. And I can see more information related to this particular person, when they arrived, which line they were on, their actual identification information that was found at Ellis Island. So I know that they were J. Sapp, nationality from the United States, date of arrival 1855, age at the time 39, Gender, male. The ship traveled on was the Northern Light, and it was the manifest line number 37. So I can actually look at the manifest line to actually see more information. Now, I personally don't want to go through this process because it would cost me $29 to go to it. So that's why I'm telling you, you don't necessarily need to go that far, but it will show you information that you're going to be able to find out specifically about it. And if I click here, I can actually see the line of where they showed up on Ellis Island from the boat's manifest. Now, since this person actually came from the United States, I don't necessarily want to use them because it's not going to help me as far as being an immigrant. So I'm going to try another last name. This time I'm going to use my stepdad's last name, which was the name I became before I actually got married. So I was known growing up as two different names. And again, here's an entire list of individuals in the 1900s. Again, remember, you need to look for someone who came prior to the 1900s. And exact here, we have over 10,000 matches. So if I kept loading more, I would be able to find someone with the same last name who came here during the time period that I'm looking for. So far, I'm just seeing a whole bunch of 1900s, but that's okay. If you keep going through it, you'll actually find someone with the name that you're choosing. Now, I'm going to do another search, which most people are going to think, no way, it's not possible, but it is. The name I have been longer than any name I have ever been prior. And here I will see an entire group of individuals with the same last name, which is my married name, in the 1850s, 40s, etc., which is in the time period I'm looking for. So obviously, this one came from Mexico on the Crescent. Let's see what I can find out about this person. So P. Posada from Mexico, place of birth and nationality, date arrived 1854, age of arrival 32, gender male, came on the ship known as the Crescent. The manifest line is number 55. So again, if you go to the manifest information, you will actually then be able to see the document. You can even highlight it and look for the name itself with what they actually put down. And I believe they said it was, I can't remember the line now. But when you're actually looking at the manifest, you will be able to see line by line who was here, who they came with, what year, month, age, etc. So it's actually really cool to see these old documents that are there, and it's going to help you to develop a bit of information about the person that you're actually going to become and choosing a name. So let's just say you became a business owner or you're a child working in a factory. Well, you're going to be using a name that you choose from this registry and little bits of information that you found from it. So for example, if I was going to be a factory owner by the name of P. Posada, I would say I came to America in 1854 on the ship the Crescent, coming originally from Mexico, and then I would develop my story from there. So I just wanted to show you this part of it as well. So I'd like you to actually go through it, find some information, find your last name, find a name you're interested in. Again, choose a date that's between the early to late 1800s. Try and stay away from anything that's 1900. And if for some reason you can't find a name that gives you any information, try another name. Change it to your father's other last name, possibly from his mother's side, or maybe your mother's last name before she got married, or maybe you know your grandparents' last names if they're different than yours. Something like that too. Play around with it to find information and search some sites here. Look at the pictures. Look at the information that you can actually find, the oral histories that are around, that are there, that are going to help you develop your particular project. So there are tons of them. In total, almost 2,000. So lots of things that you can look up and search. Again, remember, I also want you to do a Google search related to the individual that you've decided to become. If that's an owner, if it's Jane Addams, if it's Boss Tweed, if you are a child working in the factory, know your details, know your research before you actually start developing it into your journal. Make sure you have the sites listed of where you've got your research, so save them on a Google Drive, and then start developing writing your journal. Remember, it's 500 words minimum. After you have finished completing it, then you're going to go to Flipgrid, where you are actually going to record your journal entry. All right, guys, if you are ready to start researching on your own, let's change our status again. This time, let's change it to a smiley face, and my aide will upload now the link for you to do your attendance. As soon as you are finished doing the link for attendance to be able to turn that in, it's just like your normal check-in assignments. It's going to take you there. You're going to turn it in. It's been shared with the attendants, so they will be able to take attendance for the day. Then when you're done, let's change our status again, this time to a thumbs down, so that you can take the rest of our class time to begin working on your research. Now, class is not over until you are excused when the bell rings, and my aide will excuse you. So have a good break, be safe, and don't do anything stupid. I will see you in a week.